On our main site, animateplay.com, on our network, so we do have a new 5-week challenge, and you'll notice if you scroll down on the front page, um, so Dirty Red had won our previous challenge for the outdoor sports activities challenge, and so he came up with a new challenge topic, which is robots. So if you guys want to find out more about that, go to our forums up here and go to the 5-week challenge entries, and we have our robot topic right here at the top. And so anyway, if you want to enter, I guess there's still 4.5 weeks or so left. I forget when the last Wednesday falls, but I think there's actually a few extra days. It's more than 5 weeks, I think, originally. But anyways, it's like 5.5. At least I think it is. Let me check here real quick. Yeah, because there's 31 days, and I think last month, how many days were there? 30? Well, okay, so maybe just one more day. Anyways, so check it out there, and also on our network, if you guys notice, some people have been posting some really cool stuff as well. So I noticed that Freddy Sculptor also, he added his film, which I believe is Russian. So it's a bit hard to maybe to understand, but if you have, I believe, closed captioning on this, you can understand what's being said, at least on his previous films. So let me just open this up on YouTube. Let's see here. I might be wrong there for this one, but he has had closed captioning on his previous films. Also, Harriman has been posting some really cool pictures of this project he's been working on, and this is it says here 5 photos in the Grand Guignol. Not really sure what that's completely about, but you'll notice here he's using like this really awesome build-up puppet method, which uses foam and wire, and I'm imagining this is maybe super sculpty or something along those lines. And he's got these other puppets, like these dinosaurs that he's made, which harken back to Marcel Delgado and Willis O'Brien. And he's got a really interesting looking sci-fi or like B-movie type character here with what looks to be a full-size sculpt of the same character maybe behind him. So it looks like a really ambitious project he's working on. And so he's also posted this kind of troll-like character and some armor and whatnot. So definitely check it out, and if you guys are interested, maybe make some comments and encourage these people, because this is just really cool. The other thing I wanted to point out is that there is a book on indieplanet.us, and it's by Richard Svensson, and we've worked with Richard to post some stuff on our webpage in the past. And he's shown us how he's made these kind of characters, which also use the build-up method. And so it is obviously not all clay, but so I don't know if anybody out there, if that matters to anybody, but the way that these are made is really awesome. And you can see here, scrolling through this picture, this kind of close up, you can see the musculature, and you can see the way that he's used epoxy and whatnot, and then other parts to sort of make this into a half, well, it's not a finished puppet, but it looks to me like it's sort of like, I don't know, some sort of a horn for a face or something, I'm not really entirely sure. But so he's got, how it's made and pictures and stuff of all the parts of the puppets, and it says like skull is cast in 325 smooth cast plastic, for example. So really good stuff. So if you want to check this out, it's at planet.us, and it's called My Stop Motion Monster Puppet Menagerie. And so I am considering buying this. The digital download is only $4. So if you guys want to learn, the secrets to his puppet making techniques, which are really awesome to learn, check it out. So anyways, let's get back to what we were going to work on, which is our own puppets. And so we've been working on this for a while. Obviously, you guys have seen me work on this for many weeks already, different characters and puppets and stuff. So we've got our character here, and what I did today is I move my microphone a bit. So I cast 2 more faces here, and let me, can't see what I'm doing. Let me bring it up on my computer screen first. Here we go. Let's do this so I can see what I'm doing, so I know that you can see what I'm doing. So here's the mold. I cast a couple more faces, and so if you guys want to give me any ideas for facial expressions, I might go ahead and sculpt those into these 2. So I got 2 faces to do. We have to paint the eyes black on all of these. That's another thing we got to do. And we had to make maybe some arms. Let me move these about because can't see our character design anymore. So we got the side view, we got the front view. He's also got a pipe. We could also sculpt that, I think. But these are the general facial expressions. This one here, I noticed I could probably fix up this lower lip. Looks a little bit strange here. But so yeah, we worked on these for, I guess, the past couple of weeks, these facial expressions and stuff. And this is a secondary character, like I've mentioned before. Let me move my camera. There we go. So these are just, this is not a super important character. And the thing is when I kind of get started on a character, sometimes I just go overboard and I make too much stuff, or I want to like control everything and all that. And sometimes you can't, especially when you're trying to be kind of manage your time well. So you kind of have to overlook stuff. But I'm gonna just work on this just a little bit here. Gonna fix this face up. I think that is a bit better. So we got kind of angry, we got smiles, we've got sort of confused or sad here. And, just a general swath, or whatever you want to call it, of faces to choose from. And so the question is, what other expressions do I need? And I really don't need a whole lot. So we got like sad. These are like the neutral expressions, so we don't really need to mess with those. We got sad. We've got happy. We got angry. We could have surprised. I think the surprised look might be kind of a good expression. So that would entail maybe just kind of like the O shape for the lips. So I think we'll do that. And then the eyes would be, I'll have to make some eyebrows that are up. Now I've got some eyebrows on this character that are up. If you recall, the angle of, or the shape of these is sort of like a sad expression. But surprised is not really the same. You want to make that where the eyes are wide and big. And I'm not gonna make this like like the lips that are perfectly straight. It's gonna have a bit of a offset to it, just to make sure it's not too mechanical looking, which it's easy to get into a very mechanical looking face if you make everything so exact on both sides of your character. And a little bit of offset to things makes a character look just a little bit more natural that way. You don't want to have your characters too perfect. So hopefully you guys watching have had a good week so far. Can't complain about my week. It's been pretty good. And I have been very busy because getting my taxes put together. I've been doing that for the past couple of days. Just going online, different places, and finding out what all my, through PayPal and through Amazon sales and all that, trying to get all the tax forms that they have and submitting that for my tax CPA, which is just a woman that works in an office not far from where I live, and she knows how to use the software for doing your taxes and knows the laws and all that. So if you guys ever run a stop motion studio, that's something that you definitely have to think about, is taxes. And it's never fun to do, and if you're a business owner, you usually end up paying taxes. Sometimes you don't, but it just depends on what your current situation is. But that's one of the things that when you are building a studio, starting a business, whether it could be anything, any kind of business, taxes are always part of it. You can't escape. And so that's what I have to finish that up after the live show. Finish up my taxes, which will take me a few hours probably, and maybe a few hours of procrastination in between. But it will be done. Also have work for people that I'm doing some sculpting jobs. And let's see here. This one I want to be really surprised. So got a bit too much clay on here. I'm gonna remove some. So I have to. What am I doing next? Well, I have to finish a Courtney Love head sculpture, full-size head. I had to mold and cast it. That's one thing. Then I have to sculpt some more of the Batman characters and cast 2 more of Robin's heads. Burt Ward, for the person that I worked for, or still work for. They're hiring me to do some sculpting work for them. And then I have let's see, I have to sculpt an Elvis for somebody, as well as what is her name? Dorothy from The Wizard of Oz, the original actress. So, and I have a lot of people that want stuff, and I have a list of stuff that I need to get done, and it's great to have a lot of work right now. So, like I said, I can't complain. But in terms of being able to sort of do my own thing, that's something that I do try to do my own creative stuff on the side every now and then. So Janet says, Mark, what franchise is now more powerful, Star Wars or Marvel? I don't know. I don't know. Which one is more powerful? That's an interesting question. I mean, we can look at the numbers and see what's making more money. I think Star Wars is probably making more money, I would think. Because they have like a whole collection of toys and all that kind of stuff, right? So money-wise, probably Star Wars, but box office numbers, I'm not sure. I think it's probably still Star Wars. The new Solo movie's out, and it's like one of those things that I guess it's, or is it out now, or it just came out in some theaters, or I know it's coming out soon. I think that is going to be a make or break deal for Disney. If it's bad, then it's going to be bad for the whole franchise, definitely. Because people are kind of teetering their perception of Star Wars on the last one, which was not so great. The Last Jedi. It's like, oh, a lot of people didn't like the director, thought he was kind of a jerk. I think even Carrie Fisher said before she passed away that he was a real jerk. It's which is funny. She was really outspoken, Carrie Fisher. A lot of people that worked with her said that she could be brutally honest. But yeah, I think that I still like Star Wars. I think that it's hit or miss though. Like the directors really have this kind of ability to change the feel of the film to a large degree, and I think that Rogue One was a great film. I thought it was one of the best in the Star Wars trilogy, or not trilogy. It would have been before the trilogy, actually, the one right before it. But I don't even remember what Rogue One was, because like Episode 4 would have been the first, technically, from the 70s, like 1975 or 6, and then Empire would be Episode 5, I think, and then Return of the Jedi Episode 6. So, but Episode 3 came out as one of the prequels, so it's like Episode 3.5 or something. So I think they didn't even put in the scrolling text at the beginning. So anyway, but I thought it was a great film, and I think the ending was one of the best endings in all of Star Wars, where Darth Vader just goes crazy, and it's just that the director took a chance and had to, I think, if I recall, I've heard that he had to sort of fight to get the the clearance from Disney, because Disney's pretty much family friendly and everything. So I don't know what he had to do, the director, to get that ending the way it was, but it's pretty brilliant. Really brilliant ending, and I loved it. But it's like I say, it's hit or miss. I think that Disney is not doing well with Star Wars. And I think that the prequels that George handled also were not so great. I didn't like the prequels too much. But at least they had kind of more direction, compared to The Last Jedi, where there was like all these holes, and they kind of made a joke of everything in a weird way. Like it was almost like watching. And I know I got flack for saying this somewhere in the forums, where they were critiquing it and criticizing it, and I said it was kind of like almost like a Mel Brooks film mixed with Star Wars, but minus the like the storyline was just, I don't know, like the bad guy, I can't even remember his name now, and that's not good, right? If you can't remember the guy's name, the guy that Andy Serkis played, who gets cut in half, like you're just like, what is that? Who is that guy? Where does he come from? Is he, Luke's great grandfather? Like, where does he fit in? And I don't know. And then they kill him. It's like, oh, who are you? Oh, you're already dead. Okay. So what? They just needed a bad guy to kill or something? He didn't really fit in anywhere. He's the bad guy. Okay. He's the bad guy. So I don't know. Yeah, I can rant forever about how I disliked Last Jedi. Didn't like it. Yeah, I think the only way to really approach the films now is just to not have high hopes for them and just accept it. Like, oh, it's a crappy film. You can't really put your personal feelings into it too much, because then you're just gonna be like let down if you're really excited about it or something, and you're expecting a lot, and it's like, oh, are they gonna do this? Are they gonna do that? Takes the fun out of it. This one face is kind of bugging me a bit. The smiley face. What is it about this? Maybe it's not smooth here or what? What's wrong with you, smiley face? I think it's because I need to remove some clay on the side. Yeah, I think that's probably what it is. I'm thinking I should get a better webcam still than what I have for this live show. Alright, oh, that's alright. Now, what expression should I put on this one here? Maybe, maybe, so we got angry, perplexed, surprised. So here's a surprised look. I think this will focus here. Not sure if it will. There we go. Surprised. What to do? Let's see. I could do one where he's kind of... This one, I think I want to have a mouth open on this one, because these are mostly closed mouths, right? Except for this one is partially opened. So I'm thinking something with an opened mouth. I know these guys need to eat apples, so I know on the previous one I had my character where he had an open mouth to eat the apple. So I think I'm gonna do the same thing with this guy here. So he's gonna have this big, wide open mouth. So I'm gonna kind of cut it out like this, so he can look up and throw an apple in his mouth and swallow it. Yeah, so are you guys looking forward to any movies at all, or? I can't really say. I mean, the Solo movie is the one I'll probably see next if I see any movies, but we haven't gone to the movies in a while. My wife, when her her dad passed away, she was gone for 2 weeks, and it's just been busy. busy working, busy doing taxes, busy everything. A lot of people sometimes also want me to do stuff for them, and I try to be helpful, and sometimes it's really hard because you want to help people. Like they ask you, "Oh, can you do this for us? Can you do this for me?" And you're like, "Ooh, I'd like to, but." Sometimes you end up giving yourself too well, you spread yourself thin, I guess is what I want to say. And that can be bad. And I'm at that point already. Like, I need kind of a vacation for myself, you know. At least I feel like I want one. But I really can't. So I had to sort of choose what I do and get the important stuff out of the way. Alright, so this I'm gonna add some clay. I'm gonna make this like a Pac-Man mouth or something. Hey Lego nerd, welcome back. So Janet says, last week I read that Marvel has better built universe because Star Wars have the same timeline, characters, and nothing more like was in comics before they go to trash by Disney. Oh. Yeah, I haven't read much about it. I'm not sure. And that's the thing, you know, like if you really put too much emphasis on, you know, making. And I was watching an interview by a musician. His name is Billy Corgan from the Smashing Pumpkins, and so Smashing Pumpkins are a band in America. If I don't know if it's in Poland or whatever, but he was saying something along the lines of, you know, people like my music and they hear it and they want me to play certain songs, and he just wants to kind of be an artist and do what he wants, you know. But a lot of people invest themselves in the arts, you know. It's kind of almost like people take it very personal if the artist changes or anything like that, you know. Because somehow when we see art, whether it's like a film or a song or something, we tend to project part of ourselves into it, you know, like we're part of that era or that feel or that style or that genre, or, you know, like I'm a 90s kid or I'm an 80s kid or I'm generation XYZ, you know, I'm that. And people are like, oh, that's part of me, and so if you mess with that, I'm gonna be mad. And you know, so I try to distance myself now. That's the only thing you can do. Because I used to be that way too. Like with Star Wars, I thought with the prequels, I was kind of mad. Like, ooh, what are these crazy ideas like midichlorians? You know, speaking of Star Wars, because that's like everybody knows what I'm talking about. But in stop motion, I'm kind of similar, and there's a lot of people that are very mad that, you know, that Ray Harryhausen style isn't used as much. It's not used in feature films. It's seen as like a B-movie gimmick. Like, what are those crazy looking? Those were stop motion puppets. You know, those don't look real. What is that? You know, we have CG and we have Weta Workshop making, you know, something that is totally realistic, and there's millions of hordes of armies of orcs and dragons and arrows in the sky, and now you've got this stop motion puppet. Like, what is that? You know, so people recognize it as in the same way that people recognized actors in suits from the 50s when they got rid of that, you know. And Ray Harryhausen was the one to do it. With stop motion. Stop motion was a step up above men in suits, and that's why we have, you know, Jason and the Argonauts and stuff, because the studio executives thought similarly. Like, you know, the inflatable aliens don't really look as cool as a stop motion puppet, Then CGI came around, and people are used to seeing the newer technologies. And at the time, stop motion was just that. And so there are people trying to, like Peter Montgomery and Ron Cole. I don't know if Ron is still doing any projects that are Ray Harryhausen Dynamation like films or anything. Sometimes he tries to convince people, like, hey, producer, whoever the producer is, let's do this, let's do that, and let's use stop motion puppets. And sometimes they'll agree. But Peter Montgomery's been working on his film Dark Earth for so many years now, and we will see if it helps to bring stop motion back, because they are using newer technologies. They're using, or he's using, motion blur, which is done using After Effects and modern computers to add like jiggle to the muscles and things like that. So it might end up being pretty cool and able to compete with stop motion in a way, but it might also fail, and time will tell. But if you try to invest too much into an art form, sometimes you just got to go your own way, and just do it for fun, do it because you like to do it, and see how people react. Let me see here. So I need some teeth, and I have it over here. Never mind. So I have some ivory clay, which I'm going to take a little chunk of. So ivory clay is not, like I always mention, it's not so white that it will cause a camera to give you hot spots on the teeth. So for example, you see my tool here is really bright, and you can't see any details in it. But the ivory clay has a bit of brown and maybe some yellow. And the details are, you can see them. So that's why we use this for teeth and not straight white clay. Let's see. So So Whiskey says Isle of Dogs was good, but I liked Fantastic Mr. Fox more. And Lego Nerd is asking if Island of Dogs is out yet. And yeah, and I have seen Little Prince. Little Prince is awesome. You need to see that for sure. If you have not seen it, it was on Netflix. I'm not really sure if it's on DVD now or what. It probably is. It is great. I mean, it's just a really, the story and everything is really, really nice. It's not all stop motion, it's half CG, half stop motion. And Whiskey says March 23rd, 2018 for the USA, 50 million so far to date. It's at the show here in Canada. Cool. And so Janet says today I read Disney will make a spin-off about a young Lando. Yeah, I think they're making a Lando. I think they want to do a Yoda. They want to do all kinds of stuff. I don't understand what they're... I don't know. Yeah, Disney's kind of not... They're going to fail, I think. Just my opinion. But anyways. So... So Whiskey says, I like The Little Prince even though I dislike 3D most of the time. Yeah, but see, that was a good use of CG, where they use CG purposely to give you the feel of two different worlds, So they used it in a way that is kind of an advantage. Alright, so I'm going to give this guy some teeth here. And what I'm doing is I'm kind of angling the back part of the teeth up with my tool, so you don't see the slant, so to speak. So it looks like there's more depth in here than there really is. So from the camera's point of view, that I'm kind of pushing it like this. backing up so that the front part has an edge to it. And then the front should technically be under the lips. So I need to give that a little bit, I have to cut that back a little bit there. Get off there. Clean. Yeah, I have Fantastic Mr. Fox on DVD. I should probably watch that again. It's been years since I've seen that. I didn't think it was that amazing, honestly. I mean, the appeal of the characters, I didn't think they had the right kind of style that I mean, I just didn't care for the style, I guess. Isle of Dogs, I don't like the style either. But, the characters they're intricate, they're well made, obviously. I mean, they're really nice. But it's not sort of to my liking. I still like the handcrafted look of puppets. I like what Leica does and all that, but it's not my favorite style. Using 3D printers. I like clay. I like the look of it. I like the look of sculpted pieces where there's variations and I don't know. I mean, the reason why studios use 3D printing is, well, for one, it's for efficiency, but also because they know that Pixar has got that style of, everything is clean. And so I think there's somewhat of like a competing way of styling a puppet, which is, not so much on it depends. I don't know. But if it gets too clean and perfect, then it's not as nice to me. Alright, so here we are. Now we've got this face. So I think I can chuck an apple in this guy's mouth here. So if he tilts his head back, this is the apple. It's going to fly up in the air, go into his mouth. And, yep. That'll work. So I'll need to paint the inside of his mouth black. And alright, I think we can probably do that now, actually. Let's see what time it is. 38, so got 20 more minutes. Alright, so I've got my little half egg from Easter. And we're going to use rubbing alcohol to dilute our paint. Take my jacket off. Oh, what am I doing here? Okay, so I'm going to use some alcohol. And this is 91% isopropyl alcohol. Let's put some in there. Got a paintbrush, which is, I guess I left this in water, so this paintbrush is pretty messed up, but the end of it's still good, so that's what's important. Get that wet a little bit. Now I've got some of this Stuart Simple Black. An old CD. or a CD that was, I burned it and it didn't properly burn, so I put some on there. Use it as a paint palette. Now, if you guys buy this particular paint, it's really good. But when you buy it, they give you this sketchbook, right? So if you have ideas, you can sketch in there. It's pretty nice that they give you a free one. It's got a lot of pages and paper is pretty nice. And they'll say on here, by using the sketchiest sketchbook, you confirm that you are not Anish Kapoor. You are in no way affiliated to Anish Kapoor. You are not using the sketchiest sketchbook on behalf of Anish Kapoor or an associate of Anish Kapoor. To the best of your knowledge, information, and belief, the sketchiest sketchbook will not make its way into the hands of Anish Kapoor. So I wondered what that was about. Like, why are they, what is all this disclaimer stuff that they've got on there? Well, it turns out that the really good paint, the Vanta Black, which is the blackest black paint in the world, made in a special laboratory, this one artist got the exclusive rights to use it, and nobody else can. So it's the reason that they say that on the sketchbook, and when you buy it, before you buy it, you have to agree to that, is because they find that it's unfair that one artist should, just one artist in the world has access to this kind of paint. So that's their sort of political statement, regarding that. And the real stuff, the stuff that is made in the laboratory, is a kind of nanotechnology, which they've created this stuff that, on the molecular level, I believe that the nanoparticles are in such a way that they are in the shape of like cones, and light can go into it but not really escape, if I understand that correctly. So if you paint it on something that is three-dimensional like this, and you color like, let's say, the whole thing one solid color, you don't see the contours anymore. It looks like just one solid flat black hole in space. It's really cool stuff. But unfortunately, nobody can get access. But this stuff is the blackest of black paint you can buy outside of the blackest paint. So it's maybe the second blackest paint. And it works really well. And that's why I'm kind of using it for the eyeballs and stuff. It just looks pretty neat. But you can use it for a lot of other things. Like for stop motion purposes, one of the things you can do is if you have a black background, let's say with felt, like a material of a felt material, you can paint your surface gauges with this paint, and it will be so black that it will blend in with the background. So there's ways of using it to animate things flying and stuff, just for maybe for test purposes, or but you can do that and not have to use software to remove your rig or your surface gauges. Alright, so get these eyeballs painted. And make sure I don't miss any spots. And Hoao Salemio says Leica films look like CG, I think. Yeah, they kind of do. I mean, technically they are in a way. They're created in computer. 3D printed, the shapes. And so they're very clean and perfect. I guess I like grungy stop motion sometimes. Or at least a hint of it, Some imperfections. Oof. Okay. So these eyeballs are so small. Small eyeballs. Actually, they don't really have eyeballs, do they? Just holes, black holes. Okay. 6 down, 2 more to go. Should be pretty fun. Once I get to the stage where I can scan all these in the computer, I can start animating. I'm really excited about that. Normally I'm not excited about animating, that's one of the things that it's more like a chore. But I want to try the software that I bought and see how it works. And if it doesn't work, I have Stop Motion Pro. I have actually Dragon Frame in Stop Motion Pro, so it's not like I'm at a loss for options in terms of what I can use to animate with, but alright, let's get this guy's mouth painted. So the cool thing about this black paint is for a mouth like this, it looks like there's more depth to the mouth than if I just leave it like the clay, If it's just clay, it doesn't look like it's very deep. This kind of fools your eye a little bit better than straight clay. Kind of hides the imperfections with my tool marks in there as well. Make sure that I keep kind of a clean straight line here. There we go. So I want to make sure it's not too thick or lumpy or anything like that. So before it does dry, you want to make sure that you see sort of the reflection in your light. Get rid of any really heavy brush strokes. Make sure that's nice and spread out. And that should do it. Alright, so I'm going to clean my brush. I've got about 10 minutes left for our show. So hopefully you guys, if you didn't see the beginning of the show, check it out later on. I did post some interesting stuff for those that haven't been keeping up with the webpage or the new book that came out from Richard Svensson. So definitely check those things out. Really cool book. How he makes his puppets. Which is not well known. Okay, so I'm going to move these over. So I'm going to look at these here, just kind of double check now that these are getting dry. So some of the spots that I missed, I'm just going to kind of touch up here and there. This one. That's a little bit better. This one, maybe just a little bit of touching up. Let's see, this one. That one's good. This one here, just a little touch up. And one of the problems is that when you use a water-based paint on an oil-based clay, you know, water and oil don't mix. So sometimes the paint will sort of blob in spots and settle in other spots. You'll get little holes and stuff where you don't want them. So this guy here is going to kind of touch up a bit. So what happens is, like, you put your paint on there, and if it's a little bit thinned out, it will kind of recede and shrink from where you had it originally. It's not by much, but when I'm working with eyeballs this tiny, I don't want those little imperfections to show up, because I'll be taking close-up pictures of them and expanding all the imperfections when I do that. So I just kind of, I use the same container and just kind of clean my brush off in there like that. And okay, so I'm just absorbing the alcohol on a paper towel so I can clean out the inside of this, so the next time I don't have any dirt in there. Nice and clean and dirty, which I'll throw away. All right, so let's see here. So A Whiskey says, Isle of Dogs, Fantastic Mr. Fox are silicone puppets with pushed hair on armatures. It does have a wild look to it. Not sure if they did any 3D printing, but they did say everything was hand painted. Cool, okay. I think they might have done a lot of 3D printing on it, actually. I think I did see one video where some of the characters were. And Lego Nerd says, has anyone heard that Pixar is releasing a new Toy Story? Yes, I did, actually. And Janet says she did. And Janet says that in Poland there's going to be something like a Comic-Con with some people teaching in stop motion. That's cool. That's good to know. Maybe you can try to attend that. That'd be fun if you're considering it. It's pretty hard to come by anybody teaching stop motion pretty much anywhere, so that's awesome. All right, well, anyway, before I don't really have much more to talk about, and I don't have anything I can do within a allotted amount of time left for our show. But so here we do have our faces. I'm going to call this character done in terms of the faces. Next week, all we have to do really is make the arms, some hair, a hat, and some shoes, and we're done with this guy. So next week, this guy will be done. I do appreciate you guys stopping by and chatting. It's always